Alright, so we got our helpers here today. Everyone's gonna chip in. Gonna try to build the ShedLogic garage. 18 by 20. Here we go.
The instructions have it so you put together the legs first, and then you put the top on last. And in order to put the top on that way, you have to have a person hold the right side and the left side of the legs, and then a third person has to be on a ladder screwing the top in. And that just seems very difficult and unnecessary, so instead we tied the top pieces together first. Then we do the legs and slowly work them down so that way it's just less work in the long run. Despite the fact that at the end you have to undo the top bar on the right and the left side to slip the tarp cover on. But it still was worth it to do it that way, in our opinion. It was much easier to just do 2 bars at the end instead of doing every single bar at the top at the end. Before filming, we had already staked all the joints in this bottom tarp down so that nobody would find an edge to trip over. Every single place where the tarps meet is staked down. And this tarp is a water permeable tarp. Supposedly, though, we did spill some water on it and it did not go through. So we're a little bit concerned that it might not be water permeable. We plan on using this maybe as a greenhouse later by putting a clear cover over the top instead of using the tarp that comes with the kit. That's my dad, and he wanted me to slow-mo whenever he lifts the poles up with his foot like a ninja. He says he does the work of 3 men. We wrap one of the top bars with the chain to help it stand upright, and then we can fit the screws into the middle bars and secure them with bolts. This made it much easier and helped to keep it from falling over in the wind. As we're spreading the feet out to make sure they're in the right place, we use the measuring tape and we measure from all sides and make sure that the distance that it needs to be as stated in the instructions before we stake it down. It was pretty hard to drive the stakes in the ground that came with the kit that were the ones that we decided we needed to use, because it comes with a couple different kinds depending on what surface you're putting the tent into. We don't have any gravel down or anything, it's just straight dirt, so we use the kind recommended for that, but we do stake it through a supposedly water permeable tarp. This is the part where he has to undo a bit of the top on each side of the tent to slip the cover through and then secure it again. We had a little bit of trouble securing the bottom with the ratchet straps. One of the ratchet straps was a little difficult to use. is trying to measure how long he would need to make a piece of string that we would attach to the right and the left side and then pull over the top to give us a place to pull and control the tarp as we pull it over. And then for the middle, we took a stick and we tied string around it and put it through where the poles are supposed to go on the bottom later. We put that over the top and then someone would pull from the middle. This really helped us get it over. But it did mean we had to use 4 people. Though you probably could have only used 2 very carefully and it would have taken a bit longer. Well, a lot longer. My dad uses a yardstick to help even it out as it goes up and keep it from snagging and keep it from falling over too far on one side and making it so it would be really hard to get it back up and over. It kind of feels like we're a circus putting on a balancing act. Once it got over the top, it was much easier. Then you have to make sure you get it nice and snug on the end. It has to overlap just a bit so that it can be tightened securely around the front metal bars. Just be careful when pulling that you don't rip anything, pull too fast, pull too hard, or if you're pulling using the straps on the right or left sides, make sure you don't pull so hard that the strap starts coming out of one end and you lose it on the other side and have to go through and try to pull it back out on the side that's lost. We're putting the finishing touches on the storage tent. We put all these through holes. Already did that side. Now we're going to put the brackets on and secure them. We're thinking it's a one-at-a-time thing because it's kind of very wanting to be exactly where it needs to be every single one of these, so we can't all multitask. Or at least we're too non-sophisticated to do it that way. We couldn't get the last one on because it was really off. So Dad got his ratchet straps out and tied it to that one, and cranked it until he had enough leeway to put the screw in. Well, I put the screw in while he did that, and we kind of joint efforted it. It's done! So our review of it, it's pretty sturdy. It's not super easy to put together. It's not super hard to put together. We were able to do it, and we're not very fantastic at building things. Some of the parts arrive bent, and they don't fit quite right. Some of the holes for the screws to go through are too big or maybe slightly smaller than the others. There's parts that are just a little inconsistent. It came with the right parts and the right screws. The instructions you kind of have to take with a grain of salt. You could do it their way, but I think our way was easier for us. It's very big on the inside. You could park 2 ATVs in there if you wanted. We've not had any kind of water leaks from the top or the sides. We've had no wind damage despite the fact that it's very windy. It's held up just fine. Nothing's come loose. I'd say it was a really good buy. You could put anything you wanted in there. Seems very secure. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to see more of us.